Number 10. The Giant's Causeway, Northern Ireland. Roughly 3 hours away from Northern Ireland's capital city, Belfast, is a mysterious site, cloaked in myth and superstition. The Giant's Causeway is home to nearly 40,000 near-perfect hexagonal tubes that are stacked next to each other. The cause of these columns is of high debate on the island and surrounding countries. The legends surrounding these columns are mainly from the Fenian cycle of Gaelic mythology. Legend has it that Fionn McCumhale, better known as Finn McCool, the Irish giant, was challenged to a fight by Ben Donner, the Scottish giant. It is told that these columns, stretching from the coast of Scotland along the ocean floor to the coast of Northern Ireland, was a result of such a duel. Science has told us otherwise, though. It is said that these near-perfect hexagonal tubes were from a volcanic eruption 60 million years ago. But don't let that ruin your fun. Science still cannot explain the sheer density and the large number of these columns, or why they're stacked next to each other like puzzle pieces. If you ever find yourself in Ireland, Northern Ireland, or any other surrounding island, take the drive or ferry over and look for yourself. The hike down is beautiful and you can walk all over the causeway. Number 9. Fly Geyser, Nevada, USA. The United States is home to some pretty incredible sights: the Grand Canyon, Yosemite National Park, and basically all of Hawaii. But there is one of America's beautiful sights that is not often mentioned. Located in Nevada, Fly Geyser, originally called Ward's Hot Springs, is a picture-perfect geyser if we ever saw one. Covered in a multitude of hues of red and green algae, this geyser shows the colors of the rainbow. Located in the desert, this unnatural piece of art was created nearly 100 years ago when the government tried to dig a well in the desert, which resulted in geothermic boiling water spewing out and creating multiple cone-like structures. The geyser has been continually growing in size, and in 2014, it was measured at 5 feet tall and 12 feet wide. The water was and still is over 200 degrees. Because of such high temperatures, thermophilic algae tends to grow in the cone-like mounds and creates the rainbow effect. Number 8. Socotra Island, Yemen. Lots of places are said to be out of this world and alien-like, but none ring so true as Socotra Island. Socotra Island in Yemen was previously part of Africa, but has been separated for more than 6 million years. It's inhabited by thousands of unique plants and trees not found anywhere else in the world. Socotra is home to trees that are bulbous and bottle-like, and others that have thick trunks that morph together with spindly little twig-like branches off the top. This island is the closest you can get to an alien planet without ever leaving Earth. With a hot, dry climate, it's a wonder that anything can live on this island, let alone thrive. The island is a National Heritage Site, as declared by the UNESCO, and despite having 40,000 inhabitants, the island only has 2 roads which were constructed in the last 10 years. There's even a documentary about the island called Socotra, The Hidden Lands, produced by Kilogram Box. Trust me, it's really worth a watch. Number 7. Pancake Rocks, New Zealand. Pancake Rocks is named as such because of its thin, stack-like formations of rocks that look like piles of pancakes. Located in New Zealand, it is the most visited spot on the west coast. The rocks took this form after millions of years of small fragments of dead sea creatures and plants landing on the seabed only to be blown through vertical blowholes by heavy seawater. This process slowly solidified them into layers of limestone. The immense pressure from the water, wind, and salt spray then eroded the limestone into the pancake layers we see today. The hike to the Pancake Rocks is well worth it, but be aware that you and your camera will get a workout on the way. Not only is the landscape absolutely beautiful, but many travelers have seen dolphins playing close to the shore. Number 6. Mont Saint-Michel, France. Just off the coast of France is an island abbey of Mont Saint-Michel. Floating like a mirage, its distant silhouette has sent spirits soaring for more than 1,000 years. The bay of Mont Saint-Michel turns into a mudflat at low tide and an island at high tide. If being a mountain on an isolated island was not enough to detour visitors, the dangerous quicksand, disorienting fog, and mystic tide should have been. This beautiful and historic abbey could not keep people away. This small island, with less than 50 population, welcomes an extraordinary 2.5 million tourists a year. The stone steps of the abbey have for centuries been climbed by monks and pilgrims. The creator of this beautiful abbey had gotten the inspiration from a vision in which the Archangel Michael told him to build on this particular spot. The building process took centuries, but was eventually called a medieval skyscraper. Number 5. Dean's Blue Hole, Bahamas. Dean's Blue Hole, located in the Bahamas, is the world's deepest underwater sinkhole. It's 663 feet deep and 115 feet at its widest point. Most underwater sinkholes, also known as blue holes, only reach 360 feet deep. The extraordinary depth of Dean's Blue Hole makes for a wonderful deep blue color in contrast to the shallower water surrounding the sinkhole. Thousands of tourists visit Dean's Blue Hole every year, and many have taken a dive into the dark water. In April 2010, William Truebridge, a professional diver, broke the free diving world record in Dean's Blue Hole by diving to the depth of 302 feet. He then beat his old record on December 14th by swimming a whopping 331 feet down on one breath with no fins. The depth and darkness inhibit much coral and life from growing in the blue hole. But at noon, when the sun shines down into the hole, it creates a sight not to be missed. No wonder this is a free diver's haven. Number 4. Pamukkale Thermal Pools. Similarly to the Roman baths, Pamukkale thermal pools has been used as a spa for 1,000 years. Located in Turkey, the name Pamukkale is translated to Cotton Castle, and if you've ever seen a picture of the thermal pools, you will understand why. The cause of these hot springs is in the Earth's crust caused by the movement of the tectonic plates 400,000 years ago. The hot springs and travertine terraces have been forming ever since the shifting of the fault. There are 17 thermal springs on the hillside, rich in calcium, and the water leaves deposits of carbonate minerals to form the travertine terraces. This is the cause of the pure white color of the hot springs. Pamukkale is over 330 feet tall and can be seen 20 kilometers away by the townsfolk. Visitors flock from all over the world to experience the natural spa treatment and explore the terraces. The temperature of the pools varies from 30 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Within the pools are tadpoles, standing out quite vividly from the snow-white color of the pools themselves. Number 3. The Meteora Monasteries, Thessaly, Greece. The Meteora Monasteries are clusters of monasteries located on the tips of summits of rock formations in Greece. 24 monasteries were originally built, usually on 1,000 feet to 1,800 feet tall sandstone megaliths. Only 6 of the original 24 monasteries remain: Great Meteoron, Varlam, Rusano, St. Nicholas, Holy Trinity, and St. Stephen. The rock masses these monasteries were built on were formed 60 million years ago, sculpted by earthquakes, rain, and the wind. The religious presence in this region can be traced from about 1000 BCE, when the dwellings were created on the smaller peaks of the rock formations. In the 15th and 16th centuries, many more monasteries were created, offering asylum to persecuted Greeks and independence-seeking rebels in the Turkish occupation. Amazingly, some of the 6 monasteries still serve a religious function to those monks and nuns who seek solitude. In the 1920s, these monasteries became popular to tourists, though the trek up to them was very difficult and dangerous. Ascending the rock columns involved climbing ladders or being hauled up by nets and ropes. Luckily, transportation to the monasteries has improved, and since the 60s and the construction of paved roads, many more people have visited. These historical buildings, covered in priceless artwork, have undergone conservation efforts since 1972. To counter the destruction that occurred during World War II and the overall decay, millions of dollars have been put into keeping these buildings upright. Regardless of the efforts, there are still ongoing threats to the historical structures, which include vibrations caused by low-flying planes, tremors, and earthquakes. Number 2. Crooked Forest, Western Poland. Near a town called Grafino in western Poland is a strange and eerie forest, Crooked Forest, named such because of the 90-degree bends in many of the tree trunks. It's shrouded in mystery. Most of the trees in the Crooked Forest are faced northward, though no one seems to know why they're crooked or why most of them face north. There have been many theories thrown around over the years, but with no scientific evidence to back up any of them, scientists are still dumbfounded. The forest is made up of 400 pine trees that were planted in the 1930s, and were only around 7 to 10 years old when they took the drastic turn. Theories of the cause range from floods to furniture to fire. Regardless, this mystical forest is a must-see for anyone traveling in the vicinity. And despite being visited by hundreds every year, this forest still seems to look untouched by humans. Number 1. Rio Tinto, Spain. Last but not least in our search for the most beautiful and mysterious place in the world is Rio Tinto in Spain. Unlike the other places on this list, most of which are perfectly safe places to visit and experience, Rio Tinto will kill you. Rio Tinto is a bright red river. The cause of its color is not so different as the cause of Lake Hilier's bright pink color, except instead of high salinity, Rio Tinto has a pH balance of 2. Well, sort of. The acidity level of the river is hard to measure because it fluctuates frequently, but the average number it tests at is 2. This is caused by the iron that has dissolved into the water over the past decades, and also by bacteria that thrive in the high acidity levels. The river is at points as strong as stomach acid, meaning that if you don't have a thick mucus layer covering you, you probably shouldn't approach it. Don't even stick a toe in. What catches people's eyes about Rio Tinto is not just its color, but also its similarities with the big red planet out there called Mars. There are multiple similarities between Mars and Rio Tinto, and several scientists have wondered if Rio Tinto could be a way of testing the possibility of life on Mars.